This is part 3. This is the final part. And I am a little dizzy from standing up too quickly. Okay. So, we're going to put this politely as possible. Understand this thing. Right? For all of y'all who specialize in weapons, there are certain ways of disarming weapons. And generally the movie has it right. In some cases. This is not a traditional bow staff. This is bamboo that I have taped up really, really well. But when I learned how to work a bow staff, back when I was 7 years old, there are so many swings that you can get on this thing. However, there are certain parts of your body that can protect you when someone is swinging. If they're swinging low, you want to tip in so you can catch and lock and then take from them. The movies do show that. The reason why is because you have a little bit more fatty tissue up here. I know you see my goddamn lights. What did I just say before I started? Anyway, I'm not going to delete that. So when someone's swinging high, you're going to catch it right in that part of your body. Because you're going to lock it and you're going to take it. And then if they still have a good grip, their momentum, you just cut it off right there. So they're still there. You're going to chop their stick. In the movies, that shit's going to break. In real life, it's a high possibility that that shit will break. There's also a higher possibility that that shit will not break. Understand the words that I said. It's a high possibility that this chop is going to break that stick because they'll have a tight end there. You'll have a tight end here. The friction stuff of physics will go all the way through the middle, and if you strike that bitch right, it should break. There is a higher possibility, higher, H-I-G-H-E-R, that that shit will not break. And now you're both locked in combat over this fucking stick. Alright? That is the reality. If that shit doesn't break, you're in a tug of war with whoever has the other end of this stick. Alright? Now it's all about who's got the better grip. Again, someone brings a weapon to a fight. You don't have a weapon. Does that mean your possibility of losing is high? Yes, it does. If you have not been taught properly. Does that mean your probability of winning is low? No, it does not. Because fights change sporadically during the fight. If I swing this bitch at you, and you get blessed like in the movies, and catch that bitch this way, and it can happen, I have done it, and you look at me like, man, why you do that? Now I got your stick. So you start pulling me. Alright? I have options. I can let the stick go, or if they teach you in judo, if you guys remember, there were some sections in judo that did teach stick work. When that guy pulls my stick, I get the butt and this end, and I push the stick. So it loosens his grip. Then I snatch the stick back, and I crack him. Alright? So it would basically be judo with the stick. Because I want my stick back. You understand how this is working. Now, here's the thing on that. When it comes down to you fighting, you having a weapon, and they don't. This is a kama. It's not a real kama, it's a wooden kama. You have kamas that have handles that are short, right here. You have kamas that have handles that are long, and you have medium. Anyone you bring into this fight, my job is to not get cut by that blade. Your job is to swing. I have ways I can grab your wrist when you come at me. You know, so it would be like you're coming down and I grab your wrist. The same thing that you would do if you were taught how to disarm someone with a katana. Because they're swinging this way, you're going to lock your wrist, you're going to step to this side of their body, and you're going to deliver an elbow to their face. Unless they're in full samurai gear, which is going to be a little bit difficult for you to elbow them in the face. Therefore, if they're not wearing a gorget thing around their neck, that would be your target. Now, remember, samurai armor is like most armor in medieval times, didn't really have a lot of joint protection. So when they're swinging that katana down and you catch their wrists, you can bend their wrists and jab their shit right into them. If you know what the fuck you're doing. If you are taught properly. Now, if someone's having a tonfa, Tonfas are probably going to be the hardest weapon to take from someone, right? Because they have a grip and a handle. So when they swing it this way, you're going to need to avoid getting hit by this, which means you can block it and grab it, and now you're in a tug of war. All right? Understand the concept of having a weapon. Weapons are great when they can't be taken from you, but understand that they can be. A weapon can be taken from you at any time. Not just because you were sleeping. A weapon can be taken from you at any time. So if you got to get into a fight with someone and you're scared you're going to lose, just don't bring a weapon. Because it can probably be used against you because your fear has jacked you up and now you're confused and now you're worried and you're thinking to yourself, I bought this weapon, this guy took this weapon, and he commenced to beat my ass with it. You're going to learn that bringing a weapon to a fight is not the best idea. I have never taken a weapon to a fight, and any time that I've had to get a weapon, the games were over. I wasn't going to be playing with this person. That person that I had to get my giant walking stick from the Walking Tall, he has passed. He was the only person that I've ever had to go get a weapon against outside of when I was going to do some unbecoming things to members of this family with an unbecoming instrument. Something that I have sworn to not touch until I joined the military. So, weapon defense. If you are going to get taught weapon defense, you need to be taught weapon offense. You also need to be taught how to disarm someone. So if you are teaching people weapons, you need to teach them every nook and cranny of how to take that weapon from someone. Especially if you're teaching them things with combos and tonfas and chobos and shit like that. Because you come at me with 2 chobos, and let's say you know the Kempo that I took. So your first strike is just like Kali. Only Kali, I believe, is this way, where most was taught this way. Now you're not going to do that, but there you go. So for the Kempo, I was taught, short stick, strike, block, 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 block. You got your windshield wiper, boom, boom. Down windshield, up windshield, down windshield, up windshield. Your crisscross. Your back and front. Also really good if you're flexible. But you got to understand something. If you're striking with chobos, it's generally 1-2. It's not 1-1. It's not like 1-2 this way. It's generally 1 and then 2. And 9 times out of 10, they're both going to go either high or low or both. Just depends on who's taught you what. So I was taught boom and boom because my hand being left-handed, you were going to strike with your left hand last, depending on who's your teacher. So, it's like strike to the gut, strike to the head, or strike to the head, strike to the gut, or you can do simultaneously. It just depends on who's teaching you what. So, I got to watch the sticks. I can watch your arms move, but that can also be deceiving, because one arm can go here, and while I'm looking at this arm go here, you could be poking me, Or one arm can go here and jab me from the other side. You have to understand how weapons work. Now, in that event, when I look up at this one and I don't remember that one, then I'm done. However, if we both have chobos, we're going to be evenly matched, because we're both going to get set, boom, boom. Now, your chobos is to protect your central line, regardless of the front or the back. And if you don't know how to use a chobo, then you just swing for the fences. All right? It's the best thing I can tell you. But in the event that if you swing 1 chobo and I don't have a chobo, but you have 2, and I get one of them some bitches from you, so you swing. I see this one, but this one is right in attacking, and I go here. If I go here and I block your other chobo, I have a chobo now. And you have a problem. The thing about disarming is difficult, is you not believing that you can do it. But adrenaline and adaptation and all the other things that's going to be going on in a fight, somebody hits you with that, you're probably not even going to feel it until the fight's over. And if your hand's broken, you're going to know it after the fight's over for sure. But the thing about bringing a weapon to a fight is that you don't know who you're fighting. If you're fighting someone who's been in some combat situations where they have been jumped with people who have weapons, they're not going to let themselves get hit by choice. You know, they're going to do everything they can to avoid that. Now, for those who don't know much about weapons, let me see, where are my training chucks? Alright, so somebody's coming at you with nunchucks. No worries. See that? That's what's going to happen when they hit. They automatically come back at you. So you don't want to take these into combat. They look great for show. Obviously, when the Ninja Turtles was written, they didn't go out and see what actually happens when you hit somebody with these. Because, yeah, you're going to hurt your opponent. But there is a high probability of this bitch hitting them and coming back to hit you. Especially when you strike out and it hits solid mass, it's going to come back. Which means you're going to have to be able to maneuver your hand. Everybody who's working nunchucks, stop working nunchucks until you tell them about that, because you're going to get somebody hurt. Now, this is a channel about truth about martial arts, and if I don't tell you the truth about this shit, you're going to get hurt. Anytime you take a weapon to a fight, you are honestly, truly the guide, unless it's a gun, where I can be all the way back here and shoot you, versus having a knife and I have to come in, or anything exotic that I have to come in. You are more dangerous to yourself by bringing that weapon to the fight. The simple reason is that if you bring a weapon to a fight and you don't know how to use it, you better believe the person that you're using it on is going to know how to use it. And if they don't, they're going to learn really quickly. Because if you don't hit them and kill them, you're going to piss them off. And they're going to try to hit and kill you with that weapon. Just go in unarmed. You know, go in with the skills that you have acquired. Straight up. That is the only weapon you're ever going to need in a fight. These things, these things, these things, these things, these things, and these things. Other than that, you're going to take something into a fight that you might regret doing later. You may take a weapon into a fight that you have no clue of what to do. You may take a Kempo chain dart. You may take a Chinese whip dart. You may take the whip itself. And if you don't know what the hell you're doing, and if you don't have the right proper distance, or you're fighting someone who grew up knowing how to dodge this shit. He's got a whip times his arm. The whip is anywhere between 6 to 8 feet long. I can sacrifice an arm. If he gets that whip wrapped around me, he won't be able to draw it back before I can get to him. Which is true. Because if you whip this bitch around, this is a whip. See how it didn't stay? Because if you're going to whip someone, you want to and get it back. But let's say that it does stay. Now I got your whip. I'm in pain, but I got your whip. You can't use this part of the whip anymore. So you got the handle. When I get close enough to you, you can and do that shit. But I'm gonna already be ready for that because you whip. And once it's locked, once I got all that horse hide on my arm, your ass is mine now. It's time for me to show you how that shit feels. I'm coming with your whip wrapped around me. You better have some kind of hand and fist skills. You're going to the hospital or the morgue because you chose to bring a weapon to a fight that you had no business bringing. Fights happen like that. Understand that shit. No one's going to have a whip in a dojo. They may have the chain dart. They may have the whip dart like that shit. But, you know, it's for dojo. It's for training. You're not going to walk around the streets of any city that I know with that other than for practice. But you're rarely going to get attacked by the Putty Patrol or Cobra Commander's team or the Arashikage or the hand or the foot. You're not that important. Anybody in the world is going to be trying to assassinate you. And if you are, may God have mercy on your soul. But you have to understand something. Bringing a weapon to a fight can only lead to certain doom for you, especially if you don't know how to use the weapon. Then you've pretty much forfeited your life because someone who does know how to use a weapon or someone who's a little bit more experienced than you is going to forfeit your face into the ground. And they probably aren't going to stop. And if they're like me, they probably won't stop until they see blood, and they might not stop after that because of adrenaline. People have beaten people to death, people. I understand that shit. So, let's try to end this now. In the first 2 videos, I talked about size and how it matters and how it doesn't matter and all the other shit. And the only thing that really matters is the skill level of the people that you are fighting. Because you, the average Joe, you might be able to be the UFC fighter. You might not think that shit because you probably, if you walk into a bar and you pick a fight with BJ Penn, it's not going to be the best idea that you pick the fight with BJ Penn. Much love to BJ Penn. But if you walked into the fight and BJ Penn was drunk and he picked the fight with you and you don't know this is BJ Penn and you win the fight, BJ is going to be a little bit pissed, but it's not really going to be anything you can do about it. I'm sorry, BJ, I had to use you because you were one of my favorites. I could have used Shamrock. Same scenario with Shamrock. Same scenario with Ortiz. Same scenario with all the old greats that's in my era, you know. But 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to get into a fight with BJ Penn. Because BJ's probably one paying for your fucking drinks. You're not going to get in a fight with Shamrock. I don't think Shamrock drinks. You're definitely not going to get in a fight with Chuck Liddell or Randy Couture. Because those cool motherfuckers don't go out and start problems. Alright? Now, it's those younger motherfuckers you might have to worry about. You might get in a fight with Tito Ortiz. You might get in a fight with him. After all, he is the Huntington Beach bad boy. Much love to Tito Ortiz. Now, if you get into a fight with a undercard or a well-known UFC fighter because y'all in a bar and you win, doesn't mean that the UFC fighter couldn't fight. It just means that was just your night. That was your day. I know that you would probably not go get into another fight with that motherfucker, and the fact that he might have been drunk might have had a little bit to do with it. A lot of people don't know how to fight drunk. You know, that's how a lot of people get their ass beat, because they don't know how to fight drunk. That's also why some people only can fight when they're drunk, i.e. Drunken Master. You know, also Drunken Monkey. So, here you go. You have to understand how fighting works. You know, your size in a fight is like a big fat -0, because there is no -0. But it's just a double negative. If you rely on your size when you get into a fight, you are asking to lose. Because you're overconfident, you're cocky, you're underestimating that little tiny guy in the corner that you think you're going to body slam on the bar like you see in all those movies and slide him down the bar, because that's something that everybody has wanted to do since the dawn of time. It's just one problem. That little guy doesn't want to be slid down the fucking bar. And you're going to catch every bit of hell fighting the incredible puny Hawk, thinking that you're going to be Thanos. It's going to be a whole different ball game when you pick on the smallest guy in the room. But because you're the biggest guy in the room, you're thinking, I got this. Yep. Keep having that thought, because you're going to find out the hard way that size is an obstacle. Obstacles are for killing. Thank you for watching. Be seeing you.